just you get to choose. Right? Like here's the scenario. The environment gives us something which can be perceived as negative, can be perceived as not working, can be perceived as problematic. The world's ending. But we get to choose to see it like that, or we get to choose to see it as an opportunity.
So clearly that it's my responsibility now to do that for other people. If I have information and, other people's success is my success and vice versa.
Because you know what? Like, the challenges or the roadblocks are the journey themselves.
There's no big things. It's all little things compounding on top of each other. Coach Nick Davies, what is up?
What's going on? Happy Thursday afternoon as we record this on a beautiful day.
Oh, yeah. I have a few things I want to run by you here. I'm curious to know how you break up, not the monotony. I think we love what we do, right? So it's kind of like a pinch yourself situation every single day. We get to connect with great people and impact them in very fruitful ways that make it very rewarding for them. So I don't want to come off ungrateful. I so appreciate what we do on a daily basis. But what I'd like to focus on today is like, how do we make it fun? What are things that you do to break up maybe the rhythm that you can fall into on a day-to-day basis and keep it light and keep it energetic from your end?
Well, today I had a nap. I did actually have a client reschedule because he was flying and couldn't make it work. So I put like a meditation on for 20 minutes and I laid down for 18 minutes. I haven't had a chance to do it for a while, so that was pretty awesome. But I had a conversation this morning with a potential coach to come into Provo as a coach, and we're talking about the fit and where he is in his life. And I said, I don't do anything now that I don't find that brings me joy and excitement and fun. If it doesn't bring me those things, then I don't do it. Or that's the aspiration, of course. Like it's a constant evolution, but and then the twist to that, you can say, well, all right, that's nice, but what happens if you need to do things, you made a commitment? It's like, well, those things are actually choices as well. Because if it's not joyful and exciting and fun, then I'm not joyous, exciting and fun. But I get a choice to be those things, right? And the kicker is that, so you might say, well, that's not always great because you've got to be serious. Like, well, that's not the same thing. I can have those things at the same time, right? The thing for me is that when I am joyous, excited, and having fun, then I'm the best version of me. So if I'm not those things, it's less value from the other person anyway. Ultimately, it's a choice. I'm going to choose to have fun. Nothing's fun unless we're having fun, and we're the people that get to choose if we're having fun. So just choose to have some fun. So for me, it's like it's in that space, and like as coaches, we're always controlling the frame, right? And there's not a single call that I'll go through without smiling or joking or like something that's fun. How's it for you, Coach? Do you have I feel like part of what we do is not being in a rhythm, right? It's being going where we need to go, breaking the pattern, going somewhere else we need to go, breaking the pattern, and humor's a good part of that, and playing's a good part of that. One of the things we often share or work with clients is that we want you to play like a kid, please, because how do kids learn? They do play, and then when you play having fun, then that's when you learn, and when you learn, you're having fun, and like it's a virtuous circle.
I like where you got to with that. When kids learn by having fun, right? By playing. That the older we get, the further removed we get from our actual childhood, and we tend to forget that, right? But I like something else that you shared. We break patterns. We do that every day on every coaching call anyway. That's what we do, and we do that by having fun. So that you helped answer my question. Like what you do to break it up is you practice it and you embody it every day. And you said something else that I'd like to get a little bit more clarity on, because I think this is maybe the lift from today's episode. When you talk about being the best version of yourself, why is having fun and enjoyment and excitement, like why is that part of the formula for being the best version of yourself?
Yeah. my mind immediately goes to, well, okay, we've got to qualify what the best version of yourself means, because I often talk about that as well. You got to be the best version of yourself, but doing your best is time bound and situation specific. Like, so your best is different. One, it can't be compared because every situation is unique, and the version of you in that situation is unique. Tomorrow you might have another understanding of something else, and the situation will be different. Can't really compare them. But it's important because if you're in a elevated emotional state, then the access that you've got to your highest level of you is clearer. It's easier. It's more intense. If I'm not in a good emotional state, I can't think straight. I'm not going to be articulate. I'm not going to have good ideas. I'm not going to be creative. I might be functional, but in that flow state, that the position where that things are breakthrough, like I think it's important to have those. It might not be those three emotions, could be whatever emotions you choose to put you in that place, but being those things are important to me.
So if I'm hearing you right, you said like a higher version of yourself where you're articulate and creative. That can only happen when I think of somebody having fun, they're loose, right? They're like, they're embodying it. They're not thinking about it. You just are. You're not conscious. Would you agree with that?
100%. That's the first key pattern of our psychology, which is our physical body. As soon as you start getting in your head, you're dead. As soon as you start thinking too deeply about what you're doing, you can't get there anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you've got super important to practice, to train, to evaluate, to review, to practice, train, evaluate, review, repeat. But when you get to the stage of performance of whatever that is, you got to let all of that go and just step up. I think of it when it comes to fighting, MMA, UFC, like all that training happens beforehand. Then they get in the octagon. It's like they got a game plan, but it's also coming out and they don't know what's going to happen really. So you plug all that stuff in, and then just like when you're in there, you just let it go and just see what comes out.
Yeah, that resonates with me. Like the power of the practice is the repetition. So when you go unconscious, excuse the term, right? But you like it just takes over. You're not thinking about it. You're just doing.
Right.
I think about my coaching journey. Like when I first started coaching, it took me a long time to know that it was something that interested me to becoming a coach. And I think I knew that I liked it, but I was probably missing a part of this formula where I was thinking like that, once you're in your head, you're dead. It really resonates with me because we can outthink the hell out of ourselves. Like, this has got to be perfect. I need to see this. Well, what is this? I need to know how this happens. I got to see this, but I don't have clarity on this. Help me out with this. You don't need that. And it's so hard to tell somebody who's on that side of it. So, that's what I might want somebody to take away who's watching this for the first time or hasn't been on the other side of it, is go to that place or embody that place of the unknown, because that's where the magic happens. And you don't have to have that clarity to take that first step. It comes along the way. And even when you think you have it, it goes away anyway, and it just turns into something else.
I had a client tell me today that he said, I'm operating at a really high level, and it's a place where I can't afford. There's zero errors allowed. Zero errors allowed. I'm operating at this level, but there's zero errors allowed. And from that place, what happens? Right? Because what do we all know, right? If you're listening to this, like, well, if there's zero errors allowed, well, if you go through life with that attitude, right, is that a game he's going to win or a game he's likely to lose? When there's zero errors allowed, and it's
likely to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that's your MO, and you're moving towards life and you're going through your life like that, there are going to be errors. So what happens when happens your belief that there's no errors allowed and there are? What happens? What do you think, Coach?
You're really hard on yourself. You clam up. You question yourself. You're not in your best state, and that fun goes away.
And the fun goes away. And then whenever the next example is the next thing you're doing, what's the chance that you're going to be the best version of yourself to step up?
Very small.
Right. And so like the cycle recedes. So you just want to I say, let it happen, get out there and just put yourself in that space. That I love what you said, that because it's going to go away anyway, than what you know. So I think the big thing for me, because I believe that I can be put in any given situation and I'm good. And it doesn't come from knowing everything, right? Because
Ah,
that's not possible. But so as soon as you think you got to know everything, you don't want to put yourself in any given situation. Therefore, you won't be the best version of yourself anyway.
was that a belief, coach, before you saw results? Like you talk about belief systems, you got a chair. There's been many props to prop up this chair because you've seen it. You've seen yourself work. You put yourself in situations. Now you know it to be true. What was that evolution like for you? Was there some doubt in the beginning, or how did you embrace that period that we're talking about right now?
Like any belief, it starts with evidence, or it starts with being convinced that someone else is convinced about that, and then deciding to go on a journey of exploration, taking some action that puts you down there, and then just see like this glimmer of like a result or evidence. And then you do it again, and you do it again, and it grows and grows and grows, and then becomes something that's immovable, right? It's got so much evidence, it's refutable at this point. But I think it grows like anything else.
Do you have like resources or recommendations like that? I like what you said. You said, such with the belief that someone else is certain about it. Like, how much did you surround yourself with content or material or other coaches, or what was that process for you?
Some of it was unintentional, some of it was very intentional, some of it was in the middle. I think everyone's got like places in their journey if they're willing to. I mean, part of it's going to be willing to look for it. And I'm sure it's true for you, coach, right? Like in your previous versions of you in different careers, and you, there's some people you interact with, you like, oh, that you gravitate to, like, oh, that seems to make sense. I don't even know really why, but I spend time with this person. They seem to. My thought is like my original thought was they seem to have things figured out. And what I now describe as they've just got certainty. Like, where does that person get his confidence from? So that I say things like that to myself. How does that person, what is it like when a person walks in the room and they're like, how do I, here's an example. So working in banks for a long time, like obviously there's a hierarchy of people's titles, right? And so where I worked, it was like you're an analyst, there was a couple of levels of analyst, then you're an associate, then you're an assistant vice president, then you're a vice president, then you're a director, then you're a managing director. And then after that, it just got particular locations and stuff like that. But that was the main hierarchy of it. And there would be a thing where you could tell what someone's title was by their presence. And isn't that fascinating? So like someone comes in and they're acting like a director. But that's part of it, because it's not really a technical thing, right? It's like it's who you are, who you portray, what impact you have, what leadership skills there are. But that's that certainty. That's that. How does that person come in the room when it's full of other people? And now I'm looking at this person, I have no idea who they are. What do they do to drag me there? And now they're speaking and everyone's listening and they're having impact. And it's certain. Like, where does that come from? What do they get? Who gave them something? Of course, it's none of those things. Right?
I want to share an experience I think that relates that. So I had a client today talking about him working on a bit of a career transition for him. Okay, he's not being paid what he feels he's worth, exploring other job opportunities, and got an offer recently for a job that he really wants and likes and will like, for less money than his vision, the vision that we set for him. So what we came up with was, well, what was holding him back was that it wasn't what he envisioned. Now the pain is so great at his current place of employment that he may actually take this. But where we got to was, when you start working at this place, what sort of value are you going to be delivering? Are you going to be delivering the value at the salary that they start you at, or the one that you actually want? And so this is resonating with me. Like, does the title lead the way to the behavior, or is it the other way around, right? And it's fake it till you make it might be under this umbrella of the conversation, but for him that made so much sense, and it was clear for him that when he starts that, he's not going to give the effort and the value for the salary he was hired for. he's going to make sure that there's the path to get to the salary he wants by providing the value for that company at that level salary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. Because everything happens in delay. And I remember once when there was a banking job I had, I think I left and came back because I went traveling or something. I think it was that time. I remember my boss at the time, there was a couple of levels up from where I was. It's like, he was talking to me. It's like, I suppose you want your title back, don't you? It's like, well, that'd be nice. Thanks. Mike was his name. Nice guy. And he said, it's funny that you only get paid what you're worth when you start somewhere. In that kind of environment, especially when it's banks to banks and everyone's coming pretty close, right? You come in at the level that you're at. After that, it's always a catch up. You do it, provide the value, then you get rewarded for it. And that's part of, I guess, the evidence, if you will. And that's even true in an entrepreneurial or a sales or a business setting also, right? You've got to give the value out before you get it back. And that's what prevents some people from going into a business type role, because they think, I'm safe here with a salary. I'm getting paid no matter what.
Yeah.
But we should get paid more. As well as because they're thinking, I've done the work, why aren't you paying me? Well, there's often an actual real argument for that, but it's much more cumbersome. It becomes an argument because it's not like your guy could go in there and go, okay, it's an exciting job for me. I understand the way you can pay me at right now, 200,000, let's say. But I know I can add the value for someone 300,000. If I come in and add this value that I'm telling you that I'm specifically laying out by this point, does it make sense to put me to 300,000 if I make this much revenue in the back, whatever it is? And you can literally design. That's how you design your life when you're not in business, right? That's how you take it to them. I also had another story. Maybe it was someone came on the podcast about some guy coached him through executive role where it was 300,000 was on the table, but he went back and said it needs to be 600,000 and got 600,000 rather than it being just a ban. Like you never know what's actually on the table until you ask, right? But yeah, I mean that's why it does not matter if because people look at it and say, well, we talk about business and entrepreneurship a lot, right? But you might be in a corporate role working for someone or doing something else where you're not the person in charge, you're getting paid a salary. That's how you still write your own ticket. What do you want to do? What are you prepared to set out and do? If I do that, do I get X? Whereas most people think about, I don't want to do the extra stuff because it's not going to pay off anyway. I'll do it if I have to. Or if that's what you've laid out for me this year, then all right, fine. But it's got to be in reverse, right? Because you might say, well, why do I want to do the extra mile? I don't know. I can't guarantee if I'm going to get paid for it. And the history says I'm not going to. But the focus should be, if I do this, I get X because it gives you this. Everyone wins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different way of looking at it than I did in the first half of my life, I'd say.
Right.
It's giving it away to receive later. I had a client today. We're talking about gamification and lead dials, and he came up with one that took me aback a little bit. And he said he wants to refer to other people once a week or once every other week. I said, how does that get you to your leg dial? Like, help clarify this for me. And what he shared was, creating value for other people, knowing that it's going to come back to him in some way, shape, or form. I thought that was pretty astute of him to recognize that. And it paused me, gave me a little delay at first, but that's what we're talking about right now is doing that, providing the value for other people because it comes back to us. And there is a bit of that faith walk there, right? That's what holds people back the most from actually engaging with that, as like maybe lack of trust of people, or I've done that before and it didn't work out. And to that, I would say, maybe it's not reciprocal one-to-one, but it's one of the principles of the universe, right? If you're creating value, it has to come back to you. It has to come back to you in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and it's that one-to-one correlation that people are looking for, right? They're going, this is it, and this is what I expect. I did that, why am I not getting that? Whereas they can turn around and actually it's coming back from over there. It's like, oh, I had to go and take a bunch of money out of my business to pay for that. Oh my goodness, that's not what I expected. And then, your wife gets a 100,000 bonus or something like it's it goes around. I'm looking up Zig Ziglar quotes, right? And one I love and I just wanted to get right was, "You'll get all you want in life if you help enough people get what they want." And some great stuff out there from that man, but that's it, right? Like, just put enough out there, and that's the principle. But you can put parameters around that. If I give you this, will you give me that? Like, it's a very easy conversation. If I make you 100,000, will you give me 20,000 of it? Unless you have zero. It's like, but there is a depending on where you might be in your thought process, right? There is a, how's this a scam component in your revolution.
Yeah.
Funny, I had this conversation with my dad a while back. I think he was talking about some business out there. Bear in mind, like, he's got his own business. We were talking about a service or a business. I said, like, why don't you just have them do that? Or, like, don't do it yourself, have them do that. It's like, I don't know, they're just out there to try and scam you, aren't they? And it wasn't, or maybe it wasn't scam, but like, they're just trying to get one over on you. Like, and it was such a, I don't even think he knew what he said, the context he said it in. And it was like a generic, aren't they? Like, wasn't like that bit. I don't think that business particularly. It's like as a standard, you've got to watch because everyone's out to get you. And in business, everyone's really out to get you. Everyone's just out for themselves, right? And I'm sure those people were still out there because they're on that place in the journey, but I don't experience that at all. Like, I can remember any time where I've experienced that, but it comes from that mentality, right? Like, I said to him, do you behave like that in your business? It's like, well, of course not. So why do you expect someone else would? But if you go into it with that outcome,
it's already decided.
Yeah, what you focus on is what you get.
Yeah, so maybe a couple running themes here. So start out with fun and ended with like providing value for other people, knowing that it's going to come back. So let's tie that in a bow. Is there a way that we can connect the two of those things? How would you connect those two?
Well, yeah, it's easy, right? Like, have fun giving value to other people, right? So this is what we talk about with WOW. I think Coach Alicia did this a year ago. So one of her dials in our gamification platform, for those listening and watching, was for her was to, I think it was 2 wows for coaches in the team every month. Like, so what can I do to give back to one of my fellow coaches twice a month? Right. And so that, like, she had fun with it's part of our gamification, but I think that's it, right? It's like, there's a line to be careful of here, but there's a, like, if you take your clients or prospects to an event that's fun, that's a social thing, that's fun and can be adding value, and it could be something that, like, you get back from as well. There's a line to be careful there as well. But if it's a genuine, like, I'm taking, and it can come back to intent, of course, right? If I'm excited to go do this for you, that's it, I'm done. But I'm giving you value, then, like, something's going to come back around. Like, I'm having fun doing it. And again, this also go back to the front of it. If you're not having fun giving that value, it won't be as valuable.
Yeah, because if you're having fun, then you're showing up as your true authentic self. That's maybe why I asked that in the beginning. I wanted to get to that point with, like, there's just something about it. There's a magnetism with people who are natural in their skin, not thinking about, not self-conscious. They're just acting in a way that's natural, and it's magnetizing. It's almost like if there's one person in the room having fun, there's going to be more people. That's all there is to it. So that principle, give away that fun so that other people can have fun around you. Matt, what a better place we'd live in if that were the case, huh?
And the win-win-win-win scenario, right? I'll just have fun, and everyone else will have fun as well. And then you'll see them having fun, then you'll have more fun, and then there'll be more. Let's go.
I had fun with this conversation. Let's go have fun and the rest of our day here.
You got it. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching another episode of Truth Seekers. We appreciate your interaction. So please comment, like, subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more, check out some of our links. Links to our masterclass, The Achiever's Mindset, and come join our LinkedIn group. And what do you want to see more of? Remember, we're here to share the simple secrets of successful. So help us do that. What do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Thanks, and see you again next time.